Let me ask this guy, member of the Armed Services Committee, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. You know, Mike Huckabee would say, Joe, that it's kind of like obvious if you disagreed with his comments. But I'm going to ask you anyway, because you're a fair guy. Did you think it was appropriate or destructive, what Mike Huckabee said?
It was not appropriate. I've known Mike for quite a while. We served as governors at the same time, so we had a lot of interactions. So I've known Mike, always considered Mike to be very rational.
Yeah,
it was easy to work with when he was as the governor in the Governors Association. It's just unbelievable what this hyper politics, I guess, chasing the media, chasing the money, and the presidential campaigns will do to you. But that's not the Mike I knew.
No, me either. Let's put hyper politics aside and talk about the Iran nuclear deal. You've had a chance to really see some parts of it firsthand. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it?
Well, Mika, basically, you know, it's not a perfect deal. There is not a perfect deal. The bottom line is do we go it alone or do we go it with other allies? Right now we have a P5+1. That means there's 5 other countries, plus the opinion of a lot of people in the region that believe that this is the right direction to go. So I'm listening to everybody. I made my own phone calls. I've spoken to 4 of the 5 ambassadors to the P5. And they all said this: if you pull away now, you go on your own. Well, we know that the sanctions were effective because we were all moving directly against them and put some hurting on Iran and their economy. If we go it alone, everybody leaves us, we're back to where we were. Now, I've said this before, Mika, also. We have proven we can drop the bomb anytime, any place, anywhere. That's not a problem from the United States of America. If someone threatens our homeland, if we think they're a threat, we can take care of that militarily. But do you do a preemptive when you might be able to change the course, if you will? And that's all I'm saying. And if Iran has they bamboozled us, I've heard the word bamboozle, then they've bamboozled all the P5 and most of the free world. So I'd rather go with a group than by myself.
Richard Haas.
Just a general point. Mutual assured destruction is not reassuring to anybody in the Middle East. It doesn't translate well into Hebrew. So the fact we want to stop Iran from getting the bomb. Senator, I understand tomorrow that Senator McCain has called a special hearing of the Armed Services Committee, and he's invited really the national security leadership of this government to come, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State, the Chairman, Secretary of Energy. What are you going to ask them? What are you looking for tomorrow to help you figure out where to go on this?
Well, basically, do we have other options? Everybody says there's a better deal. What options or better deals on the table, or even basically was discussed, that I could consider voting for? We have, what, 45 more days, Richard, until we make a decision, okay? I'm leaning very strongly to saying, okay, let's try going along with the P5+1. Now, if they come out with something new and they're saying, here's where they are and they're bomb-making decisions, this is where they're moving forward, and this is what their intent is, we need to do something. I've always said we can do that and take care of that if that's what the facts show us. Right now, we've slowed them down. We've been told that they have enough fissile material to make 10 or 12 bombs. That has come kind of to a halt, if you will, for the last year and a half, as talks have gone on. And, you know, when you look back in history, what they had in 2003, when we took tough lines, walked away, tried to put sanctions that weren't effective until the P5 came on, and then they ramped up to, what, 16, 19,000? And now, you know, the concerns we have now, I have concerns over the missiles, I have concerns over the arms, I have concerns over human rights, I have concerns over their terrorist activity. We can still keep those sanctions on for those purposes, and we will. I would wish the rest of the world would come on us and engage in that, but not with the nuclear, because we're all together, and that's our goal is to keep them from getting a nuclear weapon, period.
Mark Halperin.
Senator, based on what you know now, which single part of the deal concerns you the most?
I'm concerned about basically the missiles they're able to continue to develop and the arms they're able to acquire and what the purpose of that and what we were able to do before that, Mark. Right now, I don't know how much we were able to stymie them before and what their intent was and what they would do if they're able to. So these are questions I need to have answered, and I'm going to be looking at that. Also, basically, their terrorist activities, are they still supporting? Everyone says the money they're going to be receiving, 100 or 150 million. We've heard it's as low as 50 or 60 million. And if they're going to get their oil fields up and running, they're going to take more money than what they have coming to them just for their infrastructure and their economy, to get their economy moving again. So these are things that we want to make sure that we have in place and we can follow.
Hi, Senators. Nicole Wallace. We're obviously focused on our domestic politics, the politics of this deal here in our country. Does it trouble you at all, the domestic politics in Iran, that the day this deal was announced, they were chanting "Death to America," burning American flags, and recommitting their plans or their desire to destroy the state of Israel?
Oh, Nicole, that's very troubling. I think all of us feel it's troubling. Let me just say this. There's not a Democrat or Republican that I know in Congress that doesn't support Israel and will not go to war with Israel against Iran or any other nation that's trying to destroy them. So let me make that very clear. We are committed. We are committed to support our friends, the best ally, Israel. We will do that. Some people say it's too soon, too late, this and that. Well, the bottom line is what we've done up until now hasn't worked. So now we have a group moving together. So yes, that concerns me. But I'm sure if they listen to our rhetoric on this side of the globe, it probably concerns them just as much from their end or their ideological beliefs. So, you know, I mean, one thing about it, talk is cheap in this game, and boy, do we have a lot of that.
Mike Barnacle.
Hey, Senator, if this deal does go down in the United States Senate, if it fails in the Senate, with regard to the sanctions, how quickly do you think, if the sanctions lapsed, would France, Russia, and the Chinese begin doing business with Iran? How quickly do you think that would happen?
Mike, I can only share with you that I wanted to make that phone call to hear from the ambassadors myself if they had bought onto the deal, if they were part of this deal and they were committed to the deal, and they told me yes. I can only accept from what they've told me and accept them at their word. And they did tell me this: if we pull out by ourselves. That leads to me to believe that they will continue to do what they think is in the best interest for themselves and their own economies and not try to go together as a group. So will that fall apart? I would assume it would. It'll be each country for themselves. That's not a good scenario for us or for the Middle East or for Israel or anyone else.
Senator Joe Manchin, always good to have you on the show. Thank
Good
you
to be with
very
you, Mika.
much.
Okay, miss you all.
Take care. Miss you too.